So the Packers went into Chicago in Jordan Love's first start of the 2023 season, taking over for Rodgers, and put up 38 points, crushing the Bears 38-20. And as a Packers fan, we've been waiting all offseason, wondering, what is this team going to look like with Jordan Love? Are we going to be competitive? Is it going to take a while for Jordan Love to mesh with these young receivers? What exactly are we expecting here? And we weren't going to know until, today's game what this team has to offer and maybe what we're working with. And from what I saw from today's game, has me very hopeful and excited about what this team can be. And Jordan Love, I think he's probably the focal point just because he's, of course, taken over as a quarterback for the Packers. And he balled out 15 of 27, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, only sacked one time, had a 123.2 passer rating. He was dominant on 3rd and 4th down. Sometime in the 4th quarter, the announcers brought up how he played, and I think it was like 7 for 9, 120-something yards, 2 touchdowns. He was really, really good on 3rd and 4th down. But I think the guy who, probably the player of the game for the Packers was Aaron Jones, who unfortunately went down with that hamstring injury. But Aaron Jones, the first series, the Packers were like, we're going to feed Aaron Jones, 5-6 times. The Packers do really well, score a touchdown. And then for the next 3 or so drives, Aaron Jones didn't touch the ball. He didn't have a single carry. And I think I was looking around Twitter. Most other Packers fans were wondering, what in the world is going on? Why has Matt LaFleur decided to not continue to feed Aaron Jones? It worked incredibly well in the first drive. And then for whatever reason, the Packers abandoned it, started handing it to A.J. Dillon. After the first touchdown drive, there were 3 straight punts. And then if we look to the start of the second half, the Packers got back to giving Aaron Jones the ball. They end up scoring with I believe it was the first drive was an Aaron Jones rushing touchdown. The Packers get the ball back again, the second drive of the second half, and Aaron Jones has that crazy long touchdown run where he did injure his hamstring. But this Packers offense was flowing really, really well when Aaron Jones had the ball in his hands. And outside of that, at least in the first half, there were some issues and some struggles with this offense. And to end the first half, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, this is fine. This isn't amazing. It's not great. We're up 10-6. It's sort of in a first start for a guy, at least in this new season. I was like, okay, this is fine so far. But the second half, the Packers came in. I think Jordan Love settled in a lot more, got a lot more comfortable, started dealing, had some really nice passes, a beautiful throw to Romeo Doubs in that touchdown in the second half where Doubs just went up and got it. And so after, for Jordan Love's first start in the NFL, or second start, I guess, and the second start in the NFL, first start this season, incredible for Love and a lot to build on. There's definitely still a lot to work on for this Packers offense, but to beat the Bears by 18 points and then one of the final touchdowns coming in, near the end of the game, the Packers were crushing this Bears team. And so, we were wondering, can the Packers be competitive without Aaron Rodgers? With Rodgers gone, can we continue our hot streak against the Bears? And the answer is luckily yes. So I'm hyped with this Packers team. And now there's a lot of different things we could touch on, but I want to start with that. But now moving to the defensive side of the ball. What I loved from this defense today was the defensive line and the amount of pressure we got on Justin Fields. He, of course, is an incredible scrambling quarterback. He had 9 carries, 59 yards. But the Packers still sacked him 4 times. And I'm curious to see tomorrow the amount of total pressures that the Packers got on Fields because they were causing disruption consistently in the backfield. Devontae Wyatt with an incredible game. I think he had 1.5 sacks, was constantly back there in the backfield. Lucas Van Ness with a nice sack. He was causing problems. Kenny Clark as well. And we have to keep in mind, Rashawn Gary, he was playing today partly. I want to see his snaps, his total snaps, but he didn't play very much. And so once Rashawn Gary is out there playing a full load, once the Packers feel comfortable with him playing the entire game, this defense is going to be even better. So to see what this Packers defensive line was able to do, the pressure we were able to consistently get is very promising because I think that's one area where I was thinking to myself, I think we can take a step forward in this area. We lost Jaron Reed and Dean Lowry, 2 veteran players, but guys who weren't super impactful. They were fine. They were average, but a guy like Devontae Wyatt, I think he has more talent. And I was hopeful that in his second year coming in that he would take that next step. And it seems to me like he is taking that next step, which is going to be huge for this Packers team and was huge today. The Bears offense just really couldn't get much going a majority of the day. Fields finishes 24-37, 217 yards, only 5.8 yards average. I think that's per throw. 1 touchdown. I think it was Keyshawn Nixon and Rasul Douglas seemed to miscommunicate if I saw it properly, and they had a touchdown there. So a breakdown in coverage there, but 1 interception, which was a beautiful pick 6 by Quay Walker, which had me hyped, running all around the house. That was awesome. Just to see the Packers come in and, play okay in the first half, good enough to be up 10-6, but then to really come in the second half and dominate and really end this game in the middle of the fourth quarter was very exciting to see. And one other thing about this Packers defense is I think for a while, I feel like the Packers defense hasn't really played with this intense physicality. And I think that today we did see that. There are some things to clean up, but pretty much any screen the Bears threw, the Packers were all over it. They were flying to the ball, consistently, putting hard hits on these Bears players. Jair with the big one on Fields in the first half. There were a ton of huge hits by this Packers defense. And so it's nice to see them playing with that physicality, with that intensity. And I think that's something that if this Packers team can continue on, is going to be really helpful going forward. If you look at the rushing defense, the Bears had 29 carries for 122 yards at 4.2 yards per carry. Justin Fields had about half of those yards at 59. He averaged 6.6 yards per carry. And it's just tough to stop Justin Fields as a runner. As a quarterback, not great. Wasn't really great today. And, DJ Moore was supposed to be the guy that came in here and really revolutionized things for this Bears team. And he was pretty much shut down. 2 receptions for only 25 yards. We look at the Bears' leading receiver, Darnell Mooney, 4 receptions, 53 yards. But all in all, the Packers' passing defense played really, really well. Running defense played well, I'd say a majority of the day. There were a few runs here and there where they didn't really hold up. But overall, it was a pretty solid day. The Packers definitely didn't get destroyed on the ground or in the air. It was a very, very solid day from this Packers defense. And as I said, once Rashawn Gary is fully back, this Packers pass rush is tough. One thing to keep in mind, the Bears did add some pieces on the offensive line, which I do think made them better than last season, but still, they're not an elite offensive line, so I want to see what the Packers can do when it comes to, better quality offensive lines. And staying on the offensive line discussion, the Packers' offensive line held up really, really well against the Bears' pass rush. It's something that I feel like can go unnoticed just because, they're just Jordan Love is just sitting back there and really having a lot of time most of the day. You sort of can forget about that. But the Packers' O-line played really, really well. Only allowed 1 sack, and we'll see how many pressures they allowed tomorrow when PFF puts that out. That's where I typically see that. But what a great way to start the Jordan Love era in Green Bay. To go into Chicago, beat the Bears 38-20. And, it's not like we just barely beat them. The odds, I think, were the Bears were like 1-point favorites. And the Packers, crushed them. 18-point win here. And I saw a thing posted by Rob Domofsky on ESPN, and we'll see if this holds for the rest of the day. I'm not sure about other quarterback stats, but at the time he tweeted it, in the fourth quarter, Love was the only quarterback to have thrown for 3 passing touchdowns in week 1. Maybe Tua got there. I'm not sure. I'll need to check the other stats, but Love in his first start of the season, very, very good. And one thing I'm curious to see is how can this young team build and improve, because there's definitely lots of things to clean up. There are lots of things on this offense that need to be fixed. Obviously, one thing need to bring up is Christian Watson obviously was not present. And so once he's healthy, this offense is going to be even better, having that explosive threat. But Love found Luke Musgrave a few times, 3 receptions for 50 yards. But on each of those times, Luke Musgrave was wide open. It was hard to tell in the first play, if Luke Musgrave would have kept running instead of sort of backpedaling. Would Love have hit him for a touchdown? Potentially. But once those guys get more and more on the same page, I think this offense is going to operate even more smoothly. And just to see what Love was able to do in his first start here this season, it's a very great thing to build on going forward, because we saw that Love can play at an elite, a very high level. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, barely put the ball in harm's way, and played really, really well in his first start. Other notable mentions, I'll leave a few here before we finish off. Darnell Savage led the Packers defense in tackles. He played really well, especially when it came to flying down on screens and making some big tackles. Was playing very physical and tough. He played incredible. And then let's see if there's any other before I finish off here. I already mentioned Devontae Wyatt. Lucas Van Ness had some really nice plays. Carl Brooks had a sack, Packers rookie, which is cool to see. And yeah, great day for the Packers. And I will be out with videos through the rest of the week breaking down everything Packers. And if you want to see more thoughts on this game, I am going to put out a Packers newsletter tomorrow breaking down some more thoughts from this game. But we did it, 1-0. Awesome way to start the season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and then we'll face off against the Falcons next week, and let's hope we can get a winning streak going here, and hope that all these Packers injuries are settled and everyone is okay. But that is it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and go Pack, go baby.